My name is Mary Sewall, and we will work on lesson 4. In the previous lesson, we had an F sharp, and we also had a D chord, which we never had before. And since we were working on the C scale doesn't have any F sharp or a D chord. But if you go to the C scale and count to 5, including C, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the second part of the C scale is a G. And actually, a scale is split into 2 parts, 4 and 4. That makes 8, and there are 8 letters in a scale. And then what the composer did, actually the second part of the scale is a G, and it is also the start. Oh, might as well sit down. It also is the start of the G scale. And the G scale has an F sharp. And if you follow on that premise and then start another one with a G, and then you count 5 from G, you will get a D scale. And the D scale has the D chord. So I'm saying all this because if a composer wants to go into another key, he has to then do it the right way. And when you think of Beethoven, how he was able to compose wonderful, wonderful music, and he only uses the 7 letters of the musical alphabet. But anyway, we'll go to the piano and we will play this piece. I would like you to write down the grand staff. While I'm playing the piano, you could study this. Now, the F sharp that I had mentioned a few minutes ago, the composer, to go into another key, he sort of introduced it ahead of time. One measure before, he put an F sharp in the C scale and also an A, which is part of a D scale, and then he emphasized it into the new measure with a G, which is a G scale. And so he introduced it ahead of time, and he was able to go into the G scale. And then eventually he had to go back to the C scale, so he just reversed everything. But once he was in the scale, he stayed in it for quite a while. Now, as far as I believe that in the last lesson we had, I went over this piece quite thoroughly, so I won't do that again, but I would like you to go over the notes in the right hand. This is a G, every good. And this is F-A-C, C, every good boy, B, A, G. And I'm also counting, so we will have it all together. To play with the left hand, the chords, and in rhythm. Now we play both hands. now what we'll do is, this may look very, very complicated and very, very difficult, and you might think, how in the world can I ever write all that down? It's impossible. But we'll take a shortcut. All you have to remember is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 7 letters. A second time we A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And a third time A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It goes up 3 times. 7, 14, 21. This is identical. So then the next thing is we have to write these notes down. And all we have to do is write space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line, middle C, and so on. And it's written already here. This is it. If you put a stem on it, you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's all it is. It's the same thing over and over again. So it doesn't look so terrifying. The reason they did the grand staff, they originally had 11 lines. Today we have 10. It was very difficult to read this, so they eliminated the middle line, middle C, but middle C is here. It's in a smaller form, but it still exists. Very important, of course. And so it's very easy to write this down. All right, now we'll put this aside, and I'll leave this here for a minute so you have more time to write it down. And now we're going to play a new piece, Oh Come to the Sea. And I'll have to make room for this. Okay. This is in the key of C, and it has 3 beats to a measure. an A minor in this piece that we never had before. You might say, well, what is an A minor? Well, every major scale has a minor scale. But you might say, yes, but how do you find out that the A belongs to the C major? Well, you count, again, your C scale up to 6, including C. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. The 6th degree is A, and that is your A minor scale, a minor chord. A chord is A, C, E, every second one. It's also a scale too. So now that we have this, we also have an E major scale, E, G sharp, B. Now if you have a G and then it has a sharp sign, sharps go up a half a tone. That means instead of playing this G, you play this black key, it's a half a tone up. Sharps go up, flats go down. All right. And then there's another one, D minor chord, D, F, A. So I would suggest that when you reach A minor, when you're playing the piece, stay with it and don't play the new chords because it might be too complicated. So we'll just stay with the A minor. And this one is also in the key of C. Four time, we have 4 beats to a measure. Let's see what's new in here. A minor again, E major, we already had that, and This is a B flat. If you see this B and it has a flat sign, you have to go down a half a tone and play the black key. You cannot play the B because it's been flatted. Alright, and now we'll go back to this again. And just by looking at this, I found a book with some notes in it, and I think that you'll be able to read these notes just from looking at this for a few minutes. Here you have the middle C, a D, E, F, G, and then it goes backwards. G, F, E, D, C. And then it's very difficult to read the bass notes, but we already got it from here, one swoop. You don't have to do it for 10 years. You have your C here in the bass, and we have defined it here. Alright, C, here it is. The second space, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and it goes backwards. G, F, E, D, C. And this here is the higher C. This is not middle C. We already did, we played middle C. Yeah. We have now in the right hand note, the treble, we have, this is middle C, but there's another C a little higher on the third space. 1, 2, 3. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And we're reading notes. You know, it could, this thing could be dragged out and you'll be terrified of it for years to come and quit the piano and never play it again. But actually, if it's explained in words you understand, you will be able to immediately play.